ever since we've become this financial economy where the whole economy is based on, debt and paper shuffling and finance, all the focus has been on propping it up. And it shows you the inherent, instability and phony nature of our current system, that it needs to be propped up. And in fact, now, the news that moves the markets. Everybody waits for the Fed. What is the Fed going to do? There was a point in time where no one cared what the Fed did. What was important was real industry, output, industrial output, real business investment. What was going on? What was happening with the innovators? Who cared what a bunch of bankers were doing? But now it's all based on what are interest rates? How much money is the Federal Reserve going to print? How much debt are they going to buy? The whole thing is this house of cards economy that eventually is going to implode. But people are watching all the various actors that are at play to prop it up. And it's emanating from the Fed, and it's and you've got all these politicians now that have signed on to this Keynesian nonsense that you grow economies by creating money, and most of these governments now have run up such enormous debts pursuing failed Keynesian policies that they really can't borrow anymore, and so now they're simply relying on their central banks to print. And they think, well, we'll just hand the baton there since we can't use fiscal stimulus anymore because we're broke. Well, now we're going to rely on monetary stimulus as if expanding the money supply can stimulate anything other than inflation.
Yeah, I agree with you. Why can't they just let the markets work on their own? And what do you think would happen if they stopped doing what they were doing and just let them? What would happen?
Well, then it would implode. It's like what happens if you pull the plug on somebody who's on life support, right? They die. And no one wants to let that happen, even though that's what needs to happen, because as long as we are diverting resources to keeping this phony economy alive, then a real economy doesn't have the resources that it needs to grow and take its place. So we do need to stop this. We do need to put an end to this phony economy. But the transition, going from this phony debt-based, consumer-oriented economy, going from that to what we used to have, a sustainable, savings and investment-led, productive economy where consumption is the reward from thrift, hard work, and production. Going back to that, it's going to be a painful transition for a lot of people. It won't be painful for everybody, but a lot of people who vote are going to experience some pain, and so it doesn't happen. And it's not, uniquely American. It's happening everywhere they have elections. That is the inherent problem with democracy, is that you pretty much are assured of doing the wrong thing because it's the wrong thing that's popular.